This episode of the podcast is brought to you by, you guessed it, That Sober Guy Meetings. Go to thatsoberguy.com, click on the live meetings tab, register for the next Sunday morning, live online, 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific time, support group recovery meeting. Also, check out That Sober Guy t-shirts and hoodies. Help support the operation. All funds raised go right back into this shit. Help to upgrade equipment, get a better sound, better guests, help more people find That Sober Guy podcast. The shirts and hoodies are pretty legit. They say, fuck drugs, keep your blood clean, down below. I got to get 50 of them off. I think we've only got a couple of them off. Few. I think we need 2 left to place the order. It's a pre-order. I think there's 9 or 10 days left. So help support the show. There's also the donate button. You can donate to That Sober Guy podcast, to the page. Like I said, all funds raised go back into the operation. I love doing this shit, and I love all the support that we get. And if you can't get a shirt, a hoodie, or hit the donate button, the best way you can support the show is leave us a rating on iTunes if you haven't already. A 5-star rating on iTunes. Let us know what you think, and that also goes back and helps more people find the podcast. I love it. So I have a very special guest today. A good friend of mine, Stony Moak, is going to join the show. You've heard me talk, or maybe you haven't. If you have, I have talked about Nick Traina before. Now, Nick Traina is the best-selling author Danielle Steel's son. And Nick passed in 97 of a heroin overdose. Now, Nick was a huge influence of mine growing up. I think I was 14 or 15 when I first found his band, Link-80. A friend of mine, Justin Coote, who's actually been on the podcast as well, had introduced me. He had the old record, the Link-80 record. And Link-80 was a punk rock and ska band from the San Francisco East Bay. And Nick was the lead singer. And he died in 1997 of a heroin overdose. And it really shocked the punk rock community in the Bay Area and all over the world, as Link-80 was actually huge in Europe and all over on the other side of the globe. And I'm bringing Stony on today to talk a little bit about that. Stony is a good friend of mine. We've known each other for quite a few years, and he was the roadie first to Link-80. Later on, after Nick had passed, he sang. He was the lead singer for Link-80 for a year or two, and toured with them. And I know it's funny, we haven't talked, him and I, really about a lot of this stuff about Nick before. I mean, I've asked him some questions here and there, and we've just never really gotten into it. I think a couple times in the car on the way home, we may have talked a little bit about it. But Nick's anniversary is coming up on the 20th, so just on September 20th, and so I thought it'd be a really good idea to kind of revisit this, bring this back up, and bring some awareness to this cause of addiction, and it really takes lives of good people. Now, Danielle Steel, his mom, wrote a book. It's called His Bright Light, and it's a really, really great book. It really talks about what kind of person Nick was, and some of the things that he struggled with. I believe he was a manic depressant and struggled with anxiety and obviously addiction. So I'm really looking forward to talking to Stony about this. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Go check out some of Nick's music. I'm going to play a little sampler here that I put together of some Link-80 and Knowledge. Knowledge was the band that Nick put together right before he died. And the title of that is A Gift Before I Go. And I'm going to cut in a few of these little tracks. So I hope you enjoy the show today. Without further ado, here's some Knowledge, some Link-80, followed by Stony Moak.
Look at how you live, and I see how sad you are. You're the one who brought you you for taking over, and we're gonna start today. We stand against the rest. We stand against the rest. We stand against the rest. We stand against the rest.
The only evil is ignorance, and the only good is knowledge.
This is Shane Raver, and you're listening to That Sober Guy podcast on Recovery Radio. Living one day at a time for a sober, healthy, happy life. For more information, visit www.thatsoberguy.com. And now, let's start the show. All right, folks, we're talking with Stony Moak today, a good friend of mine. Stony, what's up, man? How are you?
What's up, brother? I'm good.
Nice to talk to you, my friend. It's been a minute. I know you're down in LA right now, working your ass off. How you been?
Like you said, bro, I've been busy as shit. It's been a crazy summer, dude. Like, it seems like every day there's stuff going on. So doing that transition into doing production has been a crazy little changeover for me with how busy it really is, and at my age anymore, you know what I mean? It's kind of made me realize how old I really am, dude.
I know, man. We're getting old.
No, it's been good. Yeah, but it's good, bro. It's been good. It's been nuts, but good.
Well, that's good. It's good to have you on the show. Thanks for taking the time to join us today, and we're going to talk about Nick Traina today. Nick's anniversary of his passing is coming up on September 20th, and let's talk about Nick a little bit. Nick is the son of writer Danielle Steel. He's also the lead singer for the band Link-80, and then went on to form the project Knowledge. And Nick unfortunately passed away of a heroin overdose in 1997 at the age of 19. So we're kind of revisiting this today and talking about addiction and how it really steals the soul and the lives of our friends, our family, and the people that we care about. And I thought it'd be great to have you on the show today. Number one, a good friend of mine, and number two, you were the roadie for Link-80, and also after Nick passed, you went on to be the lead singer. So I kind of let's start here. I want to read this article. This comes out of the SF Gate, September 23rd, 1997. This is by Sandra Ann Harris, and I'm just gonna read this first paragraph. The title headline is "Paramedics Save Steele's Son Twice." Twice before, paramedics had been called to Nick Traina's studio apartment because the teenage musician overdosed on heroin, but Saturday morning was different. This time, Traina's body was already cold. The drug that had plagued the boy's life since birth apparently had taken his life at age 19. The son of best-selling romance novelist Danielle Steel, Nick had been adopted by her fourth husband, John Traina, after a judge nullified the parental rights of his biological father, Bill Toth, who has waged a decades-long struggle against heroin addiction. Clad only in boxer shorts and covered with tattoos, including a large gargoyle on his chest and his last name, Traina, on his back, Nick Traina was discovered at 7:19 a.m. Traina was slumped forward on his knees with his head resting on the edge of his bed, a hypodermic syringe and a spoon containing burned residue and a cotton ball lay on the floor nearby. I hate even reading that shit and even hearing it, but the reality of it is so raw and it's so sad at the same time. But I feel like we need to set, the tone on this struggle with addiction and how serious it really is. So Stony, let's jump in. The first question I kind of have for you, man, is how did you meet Nick?
Well, when we were talking about doing this, it was kind of crossed my mind like how it was. And, honestly, I met Nick at the Berkeley Square. It was like 96, I believe, somewhere in there. I believe 96. I believe it was the Skate and Pickle Show or Redemption 87. Somewhere, it's one of those bands. I don't quite remember, but I don't even remember how we got connected at the show. Like, it's kind of one of those things that's kind of just, I guess, meant to be. I don't know if there was like a mosh pit situation or whatever the case may have been, but, you know, just somehow that night we clicked up, and I kind of hung out with him every day since, basically. You know, I mean, that's kind of basically what it was. I joined forces with him from that day on and just got on his on the back of his train and rode the coaster with him, dude. It was pretty crazy.
So I mean, you guys kind of hit it off and just became homies fairly quick, from what I remember when you and I have talked a little bit about it before. What kind of guy was Nick?
Yeah, Nick was rad, man. It was kind of like one of those guys that just kind of intrigue you. He's different than what, you know, everything you know, your basic friends that you have every day that you're out partying with, drinking, whatever in high school. You know, it's one of those dudes that just kind of stood out and was doing things that you didn't do every day of your life. You know what I mean? Like, always, I grew up in music, but I never really seen the inside of, like, the punk rock scene. You know, I used to listen to Voodoo and all that stuff in high school and been all into that. But, you know, it didn't really tap into me until I met Nick and really seen the drive he had, you know what I mean, with it. It just kind of caught me. And I guess you could say I just kind of wanted to be around that every day, you know what I mean? Like, it just mesmerized me a little bit. So became very close to them, was one of my best friends, dude, by no doubt. Like, really quick, within a year, dude, like, we were every day. I basically lived with him, you know what I mean? Like, I was there almost every day with him. I knew his whole family. It was just one of those ordeals that, you know, in that time it worked out, you know, for the better for me as a person, because I've grown so much through my life just knowing that dude in the short amount of time I had him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you said something too that that you just kind of wanted to be around him, and I've heard that from quite a few different people and different things that I've read, is that kind of he had this energy about him that just attracted people to him. He was very charismatic, and just people wanted to be around him. I'm sure too he didn't have any trouble with the ladies, huh?
Oh no, dude, that dude had. I can't even explain it to you, man. That's part of the whole deal. It was just one of those whirlwinds that you just, like, kind of couldn't quite grasp how all this guy could do this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was a trip to get to know, man. Like, he was very, you know, he had it all, but he didn't have it all. You know, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like, in my eyes or anyone else's eyes, he was the guy. He had everything that anybody could ever want, or could get anything he ever wanted. But in his mind, it was never, you know, that way for him. You know what I mean? Like, so that's what intrigued us. We just somebody that can grasp a hold of you so easily, and, you know, basically put you in this weird trance that, you know, you fall into, and just one of those guys you learn from every day. Even though I'm older than him, dude, like, by maybe 3 or 4 years, he was still, like, you know, taught me so much about life in general, just because of the struggles that guy had been through, that I didn't even know what the hell was going on in the moments of that time. Like, he would talk about things and I'd have no clue what he was talking about or what he meant or any of that, you know?
Well, he also was manic depressant, right?
Yeah, very manic. I had no idea what that was either. Like, I didn't see those signs of him. You know what I mean? Like, I was with him for day in and day out, for, you know, a year straight, I'd say. And I never seen that. But, you know, behind closed doors, I guess he'd find his moments where all that would come into play. And he didn't show it on stage. He didn't show it to the surrounding people. There was the only ones that really, really got to see it, you know, this whole was the ones that were really close to him, which is his family. And, you know, there was another friend he had named Max. And then, you know, obviously Sammy, you know, I mean, rest his soul, he just passed away too. But, you know, Sammy was pretty close and knew a lot about it too, you know, as far as that went.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you think about that. You'd said that, I mean, here's a guy who really has everything. You know, he's charismatic, he's good looking, he's a great writer. Some of Nick's writing was just like, I mean, not really helped shape a lot of my musical aspirations when I was like 14 and 15 and started listening to Link-80 and listening to Nick's lyrics. And, you know, he's the son of a famous author. And like at the same time, he just battles this struggle with depression and with addiction, and really it's just like this fight till the death.
Right. No, that's exactly what it was, man. Like I said, like looking at it now, like I had no clue what it was or how bad he really was with it, how hard he fought. But, the crazy thing about it, man, is he could have done anything and been in, like, that guy, like, he had it all, dude. He could have been as big as they get of a rock star, and there's no doubt about that in my mind. I'm sure in several people's minds, once they really do it, like, he had it, dude, and he just, he had that struggle that helped him down. That, that a lot of other artists that, such as Bradley, Noel, and other people that have been through stuff in their own right that, really holds them down to their full potential. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just sad, man.
Yeah, it is.
So,
it is. And, I'm just looking at something here. I want to be fair to this. And I don't know, maybe if you have any opinion on this as well. In the opening article that I read, it said that Nick had died of a heroin overdose. In this other article I'm reading, it says he died from a self-administered morphine overdose. So I know there was some speculation in between what is the true story on that. And really it doesn't fucking really matter. I don't think,
right.
And I'm not pointing it out to try to, debate it. I just want to be fair to, and get the story right, I guess. But,
yeah, you know what, man? Not to like cut you off on that, but that story, dude, like I couldn't tell you the honest to God truth because that night I was not there, and I can't speak on behalf of him. I know this that I'm speaking to this day is, I got a phone call from him at like 2:33 in the morning that I was not awake for, and several of us did, such as Joey and. I know Sammy probably got called. Max. There's probably tons of other people that he reached out to that I know that I talked to that didn't answer. It was like, oh, Nick, I'll talk to him tomorrow. But that was the night. You know what I mean? And everything that I was learned in that situation, from the records he had left on repeat. But like I said, I wasn't there. I didn't see it from my own eyes. You know what I mean? Saw what I heard, that how it was all left. But, that's just basically how I had to leave it. Like, I don't know if... Yeah.
I don't think... I don't think anyone really would know. I don't think anyone's going to know.
And like I said, I don't want to say it, that, that all I will say is Nick was not stupid. Like, Nick knew what he was doing. You know what I mean? Like, he was... one of those guys that at 19 years old was living in a 40-year-old's mind. Like, he lived there, been there, done that. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't his first time doing it. You know what I mean? And so many things, and, like, I learned so much from that just because I had no idea what it was at the time. You know what I mean?
So take us back and talk a little bit about, being on tour, being out on the road, living that lifestyle, and what you kind of saw as the addiction kind of grabbed a hold of Nick.
Yeah, well, like I said, it didn't, in the beginning, like, I didn't see anything. It was clean and everything was rolling, like, pretty, normally from what I would know. It's like, there would come times when we were in Detroit one time, and this was when I was kind of like, didn't really know what was going on or what not to say, but, he was like, I'm going to go for a walk, at like 3 a.m. through the streets of Detroit. And I don't know if you've ever been to Detroit, but it's not somewhere you just go cruise around and walk around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all of that would come into play, and it was just, honestly, it started like hurting the band, because I know that some of those guys had been through that with them before, and they knew kind of where that was going, you know what I mean? But I didn't know, so I just let it ride what it was, you know what I mean? Like, I just kept doing what I was getting paid to do and do my job, do the best I could do, and that was where I left it,
Yeah.
But, there was the time, though, when all of it really went down for me was when we were in Milwaukee, and, he just basically, he had this girl on tour with him, which none of us wanted him, we always had a thing, no wives, no girlfriends or whatever, don't come on tour or whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
But he brought this girl on tour, and nobody wanted her to be there. And she was one of those, she was a groupie, like, she was really just do whatever Nick wanted to do just because she was with Nick. She was just more, You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
one of those. She didn't help things, and I know those were the times when, like, Danielle had told us that she told us what was going on with him, and you know we needed to watch for this and that, and blah blah blah. Well, all of that went down, you know, and it wasn't kind of happened. Like we were in Milwaukee, and he locked himself in the room with this girl, and we don't know what he had or what he didn't have or what he was taking or whatnot. And it was just one of those decisions where I was, you know, involved in it, which was letting his mom know, which she flew him home immediately that next day. And that's kind of was the end of Link-80 that day. You know, like that was basically, he was mad at me and mad at, you know, Aaron and a couple of other guys because we didn't, you know, just let him do his thing.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he went to, you know, that's basically, you know, from what I can remember, it was so clouded, you know what I mean? Like all I remember is being in that bedroom in this guy Ben's house, you know, in downtown Milwaukee, and the rest of the tour was canceled. We all came home. As a matter of fact, like, I don't remember what happened between our driver, because Nick always had a driver. His mom always sent a guy on the road with us that would drive us around to kind of more so to keep an eye on Nick, which, you know, as time went on, I figured that out, you know?
Yeah, almost like a coach or like just someone, a partner to look out for him.
Absolutely. And I don't know what happened, you know, but Joey and Adam had gotten into some kind of beef with it. I think it's because they were partying and they wanted to party more or whatever. I don't remember, and I don't want to, you know, say something that I can't remember the facts on, but I remember them getting sent home on the train.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, it was kind of like a weird deal for the band, because we all just kind of rode home from Milwaukee, you know, in this van, just rolling, like not really knowing what was going on, and didn't know where, you know, what was going to happen or what Link-80 was going to do, because, you know, Nick had flown home. We knew he was mad. We knew that he was already talking about leaving and this and that. And, you know, that's basically, you know, when I knew, like, this is his sickness that was taking over from him. You know what I mean? And it was really deep, because it kind of just happened out of nowhere. You know, it wasn't something that,
anyone saw coming.
Gradually, a little bit at a time, like it was like all good, and then like a week later, it was starting to get back, and then bam, it just happened, and it was like really sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally, man. It's so crazy, like how like, you know, you were saying he was mad at you and he was mad at Aaron or Joey and or he was just mad in general, and it's crazy, man, because once that addiction grabs a hold of you, it's not so much the people that you're directly mad at. It's just you're mad at the fact that it's fucking up your, you know, your high, or your ability to get high, or your ability to leave that place. And I don't know, man, it's so crazy, like how somebody could have everything like that and have all these people love you, you know, and everything, and then you still are just so sick that you want to release and get out of that, you know, out of that mind, out of that state of mind. It's just fucking crazy. Let's so you said that after the Milwaukee thing, that was kind of almost the end of Link-80 at that time. I know Nick went on and started a side project shortly before he passed called Knowledge. And one of the things that trips me the fuck out is they I don't know if he named that album A Gift Before I Go, or was that named after he passed?
Dude, this is what's crazy about that, okay? Like, so I know, like, you know, I was with Nick every day, and all he did was write and doodle and do all this crazy stuff. Well, he had books and books and books and books of lyrics. And, you know, it was like he came home from that tour, or from that moment in Milwaukee, went to his rehab, did his time that he had to do there, which was like a week, and then he just came home. Came out, then all of a sudden he was back to normal Nick, where he was just focused on what he was going to do. And like, he knew what he was going to do, man. Like, if you think about it, like, he recorded that record within like 7 days, man.
Yeah, that's
everything.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? And it's not like it wasn't like they just came in. They those songs were like ready to roll, like right off the gate. And he just went and hired. I wouldn't say hired, but he went and picked up friends of ours that, you know, turned on to being from other bands, you know, and some of them are still around. Some of them I haven't talked to in years, but that's basically, you know, he just went and got them to play on the record, and they went in and Mike picked it up and put it out, and then bam, you know.
I know you can't say, you know, for certain. I don't think anybody can, but I feel like you're kind of implying that this, like you said, he wasn't stupid and he knew what the fuck he was doing. Do you kind of think that like he pushed to get this thing recorded real quick and then titled it and then knew what was coming next, that he didn't want to be here anymore?
You want my personal opinion? Yeah, I think so. I think Nick was having a rough time, you know what I mean, and in his own self, and you know, like people like me that loved him and cared about him, and you know, at the end of the day, pretty much looked up to him. We didn't understand him, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know how to be his friend in that way, you know what I mean? Like, I'd never been through that before. So, you know, like, he went and did it the best way he knew how, you know? And that's go and put it on paper, pen and paper, which, you know, that you're great at that too, you know? We've all been there, done that, you know? And that's how he sent the message out, like, enough is enough, and... You know, I can't feel this pain anymore. You know, because I remember having a conversation with him prior to all that, and I remember he came to my parents' house there in Vacaville, and I tripped out because, you know, here I go to his house, his mom's house. She's, you know, they got all these things, it's all these nice, extravagant things, you know, like, he could have anything he wanted, you know. Link-80 in 96 had more merchandise than No Effects. You know what I'm saying? And it was like you know what I mean? But that's the truth. It's like, it was so crazy. But, you know, he told me, he's like, look, man, like, I would do anything to have your life. And, you know, like, that's always stuck with me because at the time I never really grasped a hold of what he really meant by that until now. You know what I mean? Like,
that's crazy, bro.
Having just a normal life, normal family, like me and you know, just that are around, you know, his mom being famous and all, you know, like, I didn't know any of it. I mean, I got a little taste of it, you know, once he did pass and we had to deal with people calling, like hard copy calling us and trying to get us to do interviews and talk bad about him or good about him or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Like all of that was a reality to me at the time, but I was so like in shock still, in such a blur. I didn't talk to anybody. You know, I still really never talked. You're the first person I really had this depth of conversation with about it because
I know. I mentioned that in the intro. You know, I was telling you I pre-recorded the intro, and I kind of mentioned that too. I mean, I know we've had a few times like driving home or whatever that we've kind of thrown it around and talked a little bit about it. But you know, that's kind of why I wanted to do this and revisit this and kind of get it out there again, because I think it's so important. He was such a charismatic and just good guy that had everything, and then just the deep depression, man, is just it's no fucking joke. You know what I mean? It's no joke. No. And I don't understand it. It's really hard to understand, especially when you're dealing with it with someone that you love. But I think the most important thing is just trying to be there for our friends and family, you know?
Yeah. And like I said, like now, like if I knew then what I know now, you know, I mean, I would have been there for that phone call, or, you know what I mean? Like, I probably would have never left his side knowing that, you know, like, this guy needs that security. You know, he needs to know he's got those friends that do care and whatnot. And, you know, I did the best I could for, you know, how old I was, where I didn't party around him at all. Like, I would smoke weed or do any of those things that we did in those days, you know? But back then, you know, like, we were dumb. And we didn't get it, and we would do things that would set him off. Like, Nick was one of those guys that just, he can't go and have a beer, or, you know how it is, you know, like, you can't just do those things. You can't just.
Well, we don't understand just having one beer, like that old saying, like one's too many and 1,000's not enough. Dude, you know, we just continue.
That's what happened in Milwaukee. Like, he got high smoking weed, and then he wanted more. And, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't believe him. I thought it was like, yeah, whatever, dude. You're just talking out your ass, like, you know, like, any one of us would do. Because all I've ever seen is people, you know, do the stuff that we did in high school, getting high with weed, drinking, and such as that. I've never seen anybody in depth, like, in the trenches with it. You know what I mean? Like, that was the only guy that woke me up to like, wow, you know, like that's what I mean. Like I learned so much from that dude. Like I never knew right then and there, like that is no joke. I would never put myself in that situation. So like, you know, like it made me the person I am today, where like I never tried anything hard or never got into anything just because, you know, I carried that dude's casket, man, and he was too young. Like it was like, it's no joke that, you know, like Nick was the brightest started and, you know, full of life on stage. But, you know, like as soon as we closed that door, dude, he was by himself. It was just this sad person that just, you know, like if you really listen to that song on that Knowledge record, it's like that hidden track.
Yeah,
very last song.
Nat, I think it's called.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like if you really listen to those lyrics, dude, he wrote that when he was 10. You know, and
that's
when
crazy.
You think about that, dude, 10 years old, man, and that's what he's writing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
I recommend to the folks listening out there, check that album out. It's called Knowledge, A Gift Before I Go. I think you can find it pretty much anywhere on iTunes or Amazon, even YouTube if you want to check it out on there. It's a great album. And Stony, we got a few minutes left. What I want to ask you real quick is I know. You know, I know that Nick had the issues with depression and all the stuff that we've talked about. I also know, too, that Nick was a funny motherfucker, and he liked to play practical jokes, and he liked to fuck around. Can you remember anything in particular that was just fucking comedy about him, that some of the shit that he would do?
He would always fucking do shit to us or in the van on tour. Or
didn't he put like a dead fish or something?
Like, huh?
Didn't he put like a dead fish or something, or was that voodoo?
Well, no, that was afterwards. That was that. We all kind of got that. Kind of like started with Nick, and he would do like little jokes with certain people in the band and certain friends of his, and we'd be at his house, and he would do shit or whatnot, you know. And just, you know, it kind of brought that tradition once Link-80 like formed into what it was, 97 until like Ryan took over. Then, you know, I wasn't there those years, but you know, like we made the best of it. You know what I mean? Like I think like those times that year that we did 97 after Nick passed was like probably the craziest year for all of us, because we had to come so far so quick. Like I never done anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, and I just kind of jumped in and did it because everyone that was trying out just didn't work. And I could see it, you know, it was like, no, hell no. If anyone's going to do it, like, that's my homie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
and you'd already been on the road. You knew all the songs.
Yeah, I already
like that,
knew
so
all that.
It was
so
kind of
like,
perfect.
Everything, like us as a family in that time, we brought all of like, Nick was always on the road with us, like all those little pranks and things he would do to like fuck with you, like jerking off in the back of the van. You know what I mean? To get pissed off and doing shit that's just, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like shit like that. You don't think, like, I would never fucking think about doing that or whatever, or making, betting Matt to do it, like jerk off in the back to the van for $20 or whatever. He would do some crazy shit, bro. And it was very, it's hard to explain because, you know, I can't remember everything, but I guess he was one of those dudes that made it fucking awesome.
He was fun, huh? He was fun.
Yeah, he was fun, bro. Like he made, like I said, dude, I didn't know. Like the Nick I knew was not that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I always knew him as this happy-go-lucky dude that was fucking, dude, just love living life, love doing what he did. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, like honestly, like that's kind of where, like, he's still alive, and a lot of people did. It's so trippy to see, like, I still see, like, the craziest things online and stuff that just blows my mind, man, that these people even, you know, I remember, you know, getting, like, fan mail back in the day and reading this stuff, and it's, like, from, like, grandmothers writing us letters, like, saying they're sorry for this, and it was just so crazy how outbound he actually became a household name. A lot of it had to do with his mom, obviously, but, you know, like I said, it didn't matter. Like, it was a very intriguing, once you know, read the book or hear about them, you just want more. And, you know, like, there's so many countries and so many things that's happened in life that in the last 20 years that people have dedicated to that guy and stuff. It's crazy.
I think like you said, and I've thought this for a very long time, just from my personal experiences, even though I didn't personally know Nick, he was the type of guy that even if you didn't personally know him, you felt like you personally knew him. And he touched so many people and, you know, all, like you said, all around the world. So let's kind of leave with this too, man. I want to ask you, Stone, like, there's a lot of people listening out there that may have somebody that they love, you know, a family member, a friend, even maybe just somebody at work that they know that's struggling with addiction, that's not doing well. And they can see it, just like many of us can see it in our friends. And just like you could kind of see it, Nick, that something wasn't right. Just from your personal experience, man, and going through this, knowing Nick, kind of learning from him and knowing what you know now, what would you say to those people out there that are listening that might be going through some of the same things and are looking for answers on what the hell they could do?
Honestly, man, like, you can't fix it for them. Like, you know, like, it's one of those things, people get angry at the person because they are, you know, still using, or they were used again, or whatever the case may be. And, you know, like, honestly, like, I lived it. I seen it. Like, I know in my heart, and I believe in my heart, that Nick did not want to use. It just took over his life, man. And the depression that people get into with it, and such and so forth. Like, it's so powerful. And all you can do is just be there for him and show that you're never going to leave him hanging. You're always going to be there for them. When they knock down, you go pick them back up, and you just help them through. And hope and pray that they realize it, like, such as yourself, that, you know what, I have to do this for myself. Like, all these people care, and they, you know, but I'm the one that has to make it happen. And, you know, the struggle just is so hard. Like, some win and some don't. And you can't force it on anything. You can't yelling at people or not talking to them. That's probably the worst thing you can do. You know, like, just be their homie. Just show them you love them, man, and stand by them the best you can. I know it's hard, especially when you see it every day. It's very hard because, you know, like, I've seen it with other friends in the past that have been very hardcore into some gnarly stuff. It was tough for me to be their friend, honestly, you know, because I'd already buried one of my closest friends. The last thing I want to do is bury another one. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, I would, you know, like, not to mention any names, but, you know, I would go and pick him up at his house, take him out to the woods. You know, that would keep him on the straight path for a couple days. And even those couple days, you know, or, you know, you may not have had those couple days had you not, you know, done that. You know what I mean? Like, you never know. Yeah.
No, I know it's tough, man. It's tough. And I think that's, I appreciate you speaking from the heart, man, and being real, because that's some of the best advice, man, that I think that anybody could give is just be there. And if you see a homie knocked down, pick them back up. And, you know, I know it is, it's hard to not get mad. You know, that's one of the hardest things, because it's like, come on, just, you want to knock some sense into the person, but really it's a sickness, it's a disease, and it fucking takes your soul. Stony, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show today. You know, this episode is dedicated to Nick Traina, May 1st, 1978 to September 20th, 1997. Stone, thanks a lot, my brother. I appreciate you coming on and sharing with us today.
Thank you for having me, man. It feels good to talk about that dude, man. You know? ATRC, bro. You got it on your arm, right?
I do, man. ATRC against the rest crew.
Good luck, everybody out there.
Peace, love, respect. Keep your blood clean.
This has been another episode of That Sober Guy Podcast on Recovery Radio with Shane Traina. For more information, visit www.thatsoberguy.com, or you can email Shane at sobriety@thatsoberguy.com. Thanks again for listening, and enjoy a sober, healthy, happy life.